Hello kids! Welcome to our new lesson for English 4 and we are now at quarter 2 and week 1. So for this week, we're going to talk about a lot of things and we are going to discuss viewing and representing. So under this topic, we're going to discuss some lessons like identifying visual elements, deriving meaning based on visual elements, identifying multimedia elements such as text, and identifying real or make-believe, fact or non-fact images. And we have a theme for this week, and we're going to name this a visual literacy, a guide. Visual literacy is the ability to interpret and understand visual messages. It is a skill that is essential for success in today's visual world. Okay, so a lot of children and learners nowadays are visual learners, which means mas madali, no? They learn easily when they look into something or if they watch something. So, mas visual sila and mas naintindihan nila yung lesson or yung topic once na may nakikita sila. And of course, we all have different kinds of learners as well. But for them, learning is much easy kapag sila ay may napapanood or nakikita. So, let's have our day 1 for this week. And let's have viewing and representing. The first step in visual literacy is viewing and representing images. It is vital to pay attention to the details of the image. The viewer must actively process the image and its components and create their own interpretation. So as we view and we try to understand the image, so we try to create our own interpretation. But of course, we're going to have and take along with it the different factors. So for example, we need to consider the culture and, for example, the situation or the background story of the one who created the image or the one who created the painting. So for visual representation, representing an image is translating it into a different form of communication. This could involve writing a description of the image or creating a diagram of its elements. For interpretation, interpretation is the process of assigning meaning to an image. This can be a personal interpretation or a shared understanding based on cultural norms or common knowledge. Okay, so first, let's have a quick activity. So what words can you relate with squiggles and with a straight line? So can you compare the two pictures and can you tell and can you compare these two pictures? So the first one, we have the squiggles, and the second one, we have a straight lines. So squiggles may be related to words like confusing, unclear, noisy, and a straight line can be related to being clear or sure. Okay, so now let's have a picture here. We have here a picture from a newspaper, and we can see here children going along with soldiers. Okay, so kindly look and understand and try to interpret the picture in the screen. So we can see there children with soldiers, and perhaps so they are children who lives in war-afflicted areas. So children living in war-afflicted areas face a multitude of challenges that profoundly impact their physical, emotional, and social well-being. The consequences of war are far-reaching, affecting not only their immediate safety but also their long-term development and future prospects. Conflict affects children differently from adults due to their physical vulnerability, depending on caregivers and developmental needs. They face higher risk of malnutrition, disease, injury, psychological trauma, disruption in education, social isolation, loss of family members, and increased risk of exploitation, including child labor, forced marriage, and trafficking. So how do you feel about what you see in the photo? So which image in the photo caught your attention and why? So perhaps those kids or those children who, kumbaga, yung mga bata na despite their situation and looking back, I can see some children who parang they're very clueless of what is happening in the area and they were able to smile and with the picture. No, nakita natin may mga bata pa to na nakasmile pa sila. So parang hindi pa nila lubos na naiintindihan what is happening in their place or in the environment. So that struck me kasi makikita talaga natin doon yung innocence ng kabataan. And going back to the explanation that we had a while ago, so makikita talaga natin na yung effects nung war sa isang lugar ay talagang ang may matinding impact sa mga bata, yung long term, no, maraming mga bagay na natatanggal sa kanila, na-deprive sila of their rights to go, rights to study, yung rights nila to live in a peaceful place. So na maraming na-deprive na rights sa mga kabataan. And then based on the photo, how do you think that children in war and conflict feel? So who would be very happy kapag everyday pagising mo may putukan, may pagsabog? So nakakalungkot yung ganong klaseng environment. And who should help the children? How can they be helped and what can be done to have peace? So ano ba dapat ang ating gawin to attain and achieve peace? So sabi nga, no, they believe in peace talks. So sabi, walang problemang hindi nalulutas ng hindi na pag-uusapan. So sana hopefully mawala na talaga sa ating bansa yung mga ganitong klaseng eksena at mga sitwasyon because ang nagsasuffer talaga in the end ay yung mga bata. So imagining a child, a baby, losing their family in an instant na wala silang kalaban-laban. Okay, so moving on, we have here word building activity sheet. So in your dictionary, select the appropriate meaning of the underlined word according to how it is used in the sentence. Write down the selected meaning on the space provided in the word build activity sheet and use the underlined word in your own sentence, and then you can post your activity sheets on the blackboard. So we have here the underlined words. Number 1, we have geometric shapes. Number 2 is organic shapes. So what is the difference between geometric shapes and organic shapes? And we also have abstract shapes. Next, we have make-believe and facts. We also have multimedia, and we also have visual text. So try to look the meaning of these words in the dictionary and try to create your own sentence from it. Okay, so let's have our day 2 for this week. So are you ready? So this time, let's derive meaning from visual text. So what are we going to do and how do we derive meaning from visual text? Once the visual elements of an image are identified, the viewer can begin to derive meaning from them. The meaning of an image can be both literal and symbolic. When we say literal meaning, the literal meaning of an image is the most straightforward interpretation of what is being depicted. So for example, when we see this picture, so when we say literal meaning, so we can see flowers, we can see clouds, orange sky, so papalubog na yung araw. So but when we say symbolic meaning, the symbolic meaning of an image can be more complex and may involve personal interpretation, cultural influences, or historical context. So a while ago, binigay natin yung literal meaning. So we can see flowers here, orange sky, and papalubog na araw, and we can also see a sea as a background. But when we talk about symbolic meaning, pwede ko siyang i-interpret as, for example, a person na malapit ng, kumbaga, for example, for a person who is very eager, very aggressive, yung kumbaga very siya dun sa kanyang work. Kumbaga, when you say napakasipag niya, very eager sa work, and when he reaches this, pag nakita niya itong sunset, no, nagiging parang patapos na yung prime niya, 'di ba? Yung parang pa-start na siyang unti-unti na siyang naglalaylo sa kanyang work and try to enjoy the inner peace, no? Kumbaga pa-retire na yung in my own interpretation, parang pa-retire na siya sa kanyang work and try to enjoy yung environment, no? And yung pwede niya nang i-reap yung hard work niya from his or her younger years, no? So, parang yun yung aking symbolic meaning to this. So, parang dahil yung flowers, andyan na lahat, yung achievements niya, and yung fruit of labor niya, nandyan na. So, it's time to harvest na and enjoy the fruit of his or her labor. Overall message, by combining the literal and symbolic meanings, the viewer can arrive at a comprehensive understanding of the overall message the image conveys. So next, we have here a picture. Take a look at this picture and tell us what message this image represents. No? Ano ba yung message na gustong iparating sa atin ng image na ito? So we can see children, they are happy. A girl is holding a balloon, and inside the balloon is a dove. As we all know, dove represents peace. Hindi ba? And above them, we can see hearts and a sun who is also very happy. So, what kind of shapes are used in the image? So, are there geometric shapes and are there organic shapes? And how did the shapes used help in expressing the message? So, if I'm going to give an interpretation to this message, so I think, for me, these are the children who survive, no? Yung the environment, or yung katulad ng picture na pinakita natin kanina, yung their children yung war-inflicted areas. So, hopefully, yung war na yun tapos na, and they are all now, nagre-recover na sila from that incident. And finally, as I interpret this picture, is na-achieve na yung peace, and they start to build love in the community, and there is always a sunshine after the rain. That's why nakangiti yung sun. Parang maganda na ulit, parang bagong simula ng buhay para sa mga bata na minsang nakaranas o nakatira sa isang lugar na may giyera. So, yun po ang ating, that is my personal interpretation. So, how did the shapes used help in expressing the message? So, let's answer that in a few minutes. So, now, let's give a definition to geometric shapes. So, geometric shapes are precise and mathematically defined. They are created through the use of lines, angles, and curves that follow specific rules and formulas. While when we say organic shapes are inspired by nature. They are irregular, flowing, and often asymmetrical, mimicking the forms found in the plants, animals, and other natural phenomena. Alright, so next we have here another example. So letter A is a sign of peace. It is made of a circle and triangles, and later on we're going to find out what does these shapes symbolize. For letter B, we have a shadow of a bird with leaves on its beak. So as we can see, this is a picture of a dove, and this dove represents peace, diba? Yung purity and peace, yung parang tapos na, everything is in its own proper place. While letter C, it shows different lines and strokes with no pattern. So it's very vague, magulo, malabo, no, walang direction. So yun yung abstract, diba? Yun yung parang gustong interpret sa atin. So parang magulo. For example, yung isip niya kung saan-saan, hindi niya alam kung ano yung gusto niyang gawin. So something like that. So when we identify visual elements, to understand an image, viewers must identify its visual elements. These elements contribute to the overall message and meaning of the image. So number one, shapes. Shapes can be geometric or organic, and they help to define the forms within an image. So isang factor would be the shapes. Number 2 is the color. Colors can evoke emotions, create contrast, and highlight certain areas of an image. They can also be used to symbolize ideas and concepts. So, going back nung quarter 1, we already discussed the meanings of different colors. So, we have cool colors, we also have warm colors, and iba-iba yung pwedeng interpretation and emotions na pwedeng ibigay depende doon sa nag-interpret. And then we also have lines. Lines can create movement, define boundaries, and guide the viewer's eye through an image. And we also have texture. Texture can create a sense of depth and realism in an image. It can also be used to evoke emotions or create specific atmosphere. So shapes are the building blocks of visual communication, playing a crucial role in conveying meaning and emotion within an image. They act as a visual language, allowing artists and designers to express a wide range of messages through their form, arrangement, and interaction. So, akala natin yung shapes before, yung mga basic shapes lang, triangles, square, circles, but in visual elements, meron pala silang iba't ibang interpretation. So, for example, circles often represents unity, diba? Pag table, circle, equality, and unity, wholeness, eternity, and the cycle of life. They can also convey feelings of peace, harmony, and security. For squares, it symbolizes stability, order, structure, and rationality. They can also evoke feelings of strength, security, and reliability. Triangles can represent power, energy, and ambition. An upward-pointing triangle often suggests aspiration, while a downward-pointing triangle can symbolize grounding or stability. So as for organic shapes, curved lines, so they connote fluidity, tuloy-tuloy na movement, growth, and nature. They can evoke feelings of warmth, comfort, and peace. For irregular shapes, they can express chaos, unpredictability, and the wildness of nature. They can also convey a sense of individuality and uniqueness. Okay, so let's have our day 3. And for days 3, 4, and 5, so we're going to have some activities and discuss the other lessons included in week 1. So this time, analyze the organization of the different elements in a campaign poster by having them compare and contrast 2 posters on bullying. The text and images tell the main ideas or supporting details of the text. So we have here 2 posters regarding bullying. So the first one, so we have the black and white, and I think a more detailed one. And the other one is mas maraming image, more colorful, and simpler yung kanyang pag-discuss about bullying. So compare these two. So what is the purpose of the poster? So it is to inform and make awareness to the students or learners with regards to bullying. So ano pa yung mako-consider natin na bullying? So dito, sa first poster, hinati niya into 4 parts. Joking around, one-time thing, conflict, and bullying. So this second one naman is they are trying to question, bullying ba kapag ganito yung ginawa mo sa isang tao? Or if you do something unintentionally hurtful and they do it once. Okay, so you need to compare and contrast. Then, what important ideas do the posters want to convey to the readers? So, they want to make the readers understand na kapag may mga ganitong instances na nangyari sa'yo and nag-fall siya into that category based on the posters, they can be considered as bullying. Now, which element in the poster, text, or image express the main message? So, we can see here the first poster. It is the child in the middle, no? Napapalibutan siya nung explanation and yung mga situations that can be considered as bullying. So for the second one, two child, no, may children tayo both on the left and the right, and we can also see colors of yellow, green, blue, and red. So yung naka-highlight yung that's bullying. So red, no, to make an impression para i-highlight na yun ay isang bullying. And then, what are the more specific details shared in the poster? So, yung mga explanations nila, giving the readers ano ba yung magfo-fall into that category that can be considered bullying. And which between the two posters is more effective in sharing the message and why. So, you can choose between the two. Kung ikaw ay mas gusto mo yung detailed and explanation, then you can choose picture 1. Pero kung ikaw naman mas naintindihan mo yung simpler, yung explanation, then mas colorful, mas magiging attractive sa'yo, mas nakaka-caught ng attention mo kapag may color, then you can choose the poster number 2. Alright, so this is the one that we answered a while ago. So for day 4, so let's talk about real versus fictional images, multimedia elements text, fact versus non-facts. Okay, let's just have a quick overview of these topics. So, for real versus fictional images, it is important to distinguish between real and fictional images. While real images depict actual objects and scenes, fictional images are created through imagination or artistic interpretation. So, for example, we have the real, we have here the horses, and then for fictional, we have the unicorns, di ba? Yung unicorn na makulay, na lumilipad, yan. So, they can fall on fictional images. So, real images depict actual events or objects, while fictional images represent imagined concepts or scenarios. For real images, they can be photographs, videos, or illustrations. And for fictional images, often involve elements of fantasy and imagination. So, yan. So, next we have the multimedia elements, which focuses on text. So, multimedia elements such as text often accompany images and enhance their meaning. So, we have under that headlines. Headlines are brief and eye-catching text that summarize the main topic of an image or article. So, basically, makikita natin itong mga to sa mga newspapers natin. Subtitles provide additional information or context for an image or article. So, makikita din natin yan sa mga magazines. Slogans are memorable and concise phrases that convey message or brand identity. So, usually, ito yung the slogans were used in propagandas, di ba? Gumagamit sila ng mga lines na mas madaling matandaan ng mga viewers or mga taglines na para mas madaling tumatak yung kanilang brand sa mga viewers and sa kanilang mga readers. So next we have fact versus non-fact images. So what is the difference between the two? Images can be factual or non-factual. Factual images are intended to depict reality accurately, while non-factual images may be embellished or altered for artistic or persuasive purposes. Factual images, these images aim to present an objective view of reality, yung katotohanan. They can be used to document events or provide evidence for claims. While non-factual images may be manipulated or exaggerated for artistic or persuasive purposes, they may not accurately represent reality. So, to further discuss the difference, so fact images capturing reality. So, a landmark in history, a photograph of the Eiffel Tower serves as a tangible record of this iconic structure, capturing its grandeur and detail. So, science in visual form. Scientific illustrations like this one depicting a human cell provide a visual understanding of complex concepts grounded in scientific data. Moments in time, news, photos like this one capturing a political event serve as a visual evidence of historical moments. offering a glimpse into the realities of our world. Fact images are rooted in truth and evidence. They showcase real-world phenomena, capturing events, objects, or landscapes that exist or have existed. These images can be verified through independent sources such as historical records, scientific data, or eyewitness accounts. So how about non-fact images? So we can say these are the imaginary worlds. A painting of a unicorn. Non-fact images are products of imagination and creativity. They depict fictional characters, fantastical creatures, or impossible scenarios. A movie poster featuring a superhero. They often serve to entertain, inspire, or express artistic vision. A digital illustration of a futuristic city. These images cannot be observed or verified in the real world. So educational applications, fact versus non-fact images. Fact images, so teachers can use fact images to illustrate concepts, provide visual aids, or engage students in a real-world learning. And for non-fact images, teachers can use non-fact images to spark imagination, encouraging creative thinking, or explore fictional worlds. So for fact images, teachers are encouraging you to think critically or using these images to spark a critical thinking. So you're going to observe and critique the picture, what is the situation, ano ba yung possible scenario in this kind of situation, and what can you do. For non-fact images, they can use this to explore and use your imagination. So, to yung creative thinking naman. For fact images, critical thinking. For non-fact images, you use your creative thinking naman. The distinction between fact and non-fact images is particularly relevant in education. Fact images provide a window into reality, while non-fact images offer a glimpse into the realm of imagination. Both types of images play significant roles in our understanding of the world and our engagement with visual media. So, analyzing visual information. Visual information analysis involves examining images to understand their underlying meaning, message, and potential bias. So, number one, identify visual elements. This involves recognizing shapes, colors, lines, and textures. Interpret symbolic meanings. Understanding the cultural or historical context of the image is very crucial. Evaluate sources and bias. It's essential to consider the source of the image and any potential biases that may have influenced its creation. And draw conclusions. Based on the analysis, the viewer can form their own conclusions about the image's message and intent. Alright, for day 5, you're just going to complete this graphic organizer based on the lessons and the discussions that we had. So complete the graphic organizer by filling up the boxes, then writing a paragraph to summarize the concepts learned. Alright, so this should be the outcome of the graphic organizer. So you have the kinds of shapes and the visual text or images. So under that is kinds of shapes and kinds of images. So we have the kinds of shapes. We have geometric, organic, and abstract shapes. And for kinds of images, we have real and factual images and make-believe and non-factual images. So visual text or images, derivation of meaning, procedures in we have the procedures in deriving meaning. We have recognition of the text elements, interpreting lines, colors, and shapes, identifying the purpose of the visual text or image, and interpreting the images or ideas. So this sums up our lesson for the whole week. So thank you very much for being with me, and I hope you learned something from our lesson for this week. So this is Teacher Isa, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye!